Welcome to the longest karting circuit in Europe for round one of the British Mini Bikes Championship, featuring the all-new FIM Junior World Series for both Mini GP and Mini Moto bikes, with riders from 6 years of age. It's all as part of the official Road to Moto GP series, and earlier I spoke to the riders at the sharp end of the grid for the first race featured in this programme. Henry, pole position for what could be considered the premier class this weekend on the Road to Moto GP in the 190 class. Were you expecting pole?
Yeah, I was going into this weekend feeling pretty confident. I wasn't really expecting pole as it was my first time around this track, but I've seemed to have learned it quite well.
So where have you come from then today? Where do you live?
We've come from down south near Kent.
Right, so that's a long journey for you. How long has it taken you to get here?
It took about 4.5 hours. Yeah, so it's a long drive.
With all the traffic, so you'd be hoping to take the win and the trophy home?
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thank you.
P2, are you happy with that for this weekend?
Yeah, I'm very glad with the position. It's helped me a lot just to stay at the front.
But can you go from P2 to the lead? I guess that's going to be the big thing, isn't it, this weekend? Can you do that?
Yeah, I'm going to try and get pole shot into the start and try and stay at front.
Marco, P3 today in the first round qualifying. It's a pretty good result, I guess. Is that what you expected, or were you hoping for better?
Yeah, obviously we always aim for the top really, but P3 is not where we really would have wanted to be, but we can work for tomorrow and see how we get on.
Okay, well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Let's kick off then with race one of Mini GP UK 190. Jake Sanson and Alan Tadei in the commentary box. Henry McCartney and Blake Wilson on the front row from Marco Holt and Arnie Carr. Then Jensen Bishop alongside Annabelle McCarthy. Sid Marshall and Izzy Carter on row 4. And rounding out the top 10, it is Oliver Pitcher and Wilson Dilks. 11th on the grid, it is a living legend, Peter Hickman. Yes, it really is that Peter Hickman. Tim Patterson alongside David Wilton, John Pitcher, Rupert White and Michael Nealons rounding out the field. What an opportunity this is for the Mini GP riders to go up against the king of the Isle of Man TT at this moment in time in the UK. It's absolutely awesome. Off we go. The Ovalis make their way to the first corner, and it's Blake Wilson who's got a better launch than Henry McCartney. So off they go, out through Paddock Bend and up to Rib. There are the non-Ovalis getting away, led off by Wilson Dilks. 9 competitors in the Ovali category. Everybody else is in the open category, run by BMB, which is open to all manufacturers. It's not part of the FIM Mini GP 190 series. McCartney, Wilson and Holt having a terrific challenge. Wilson, though, in the lead in front of McCartney and Holt. And Arnie Carr having started 4th position. Tell you what, though, Annabelle McCarthy is really trying to stretch her legs here to try and work her way into the top 5. Hasn't quite been able to get the jump on Jensen Bishop yet, but up the inside. Goodness me, Henry McCartney getting hungry already on Blake Wilson.
Yeah, Henry McCartney, the pole man, but he's lost the lead temporarily. For how long, we'll have to see, but it's Wilson that leads it from McCartney, and then Marco Holt in 3rd place there. In 4th, you can make out Arnie Carr. The 3 leaders were the 3 people we interviewed, or I interviewed earlier on. The first interviews of the season. They certainly will not be the last.
Yeah, you wouldn't think these young lads were, anywhere between 12 and up, would you? They sounded very professional there, I have to say. There's Arnie Carr just trying to keep up with the leading trio, and they are so close together. Wilson, McCartney and Holt. There's nothing between them. Here comes Holt trying to get up the inside. McCartney takes the wider trajectory through Rib, and as they come up towards reverse corkscrew, this is going to be so close between the leading 3 riders. And again, they charge their way through to the right-hander, out of the hairpin. McCartney trying to get better purchase on the throttle on Blake Wilson, but it's Wilson, McCartney, Holt all the way down the Bob Pope straight and up towards Wiggles. They're going to continue to work their way forward. This is where things are going to get very delicate. You've got to be so patient in this tight and twisty section through these hairpins. McCartney trying to get a better, wider trajectory off the throttle to get back past Blake Wilson on the far side. But Wilson is holding his bike in exactly the right places as they go through South Bank.
Through South Bank, down to hairpin 3. McCartney up the inside, and McCartney, has he got it? He has. Lead back for Henry McCartney. But for how long, the others are looking extremely spicy.
Absolutely textbook. He thread the eye of the needle so delicately there, and there wasn't really a lot that Blake Wilson could do in response. If he tried anything particularly major there, that would have ended up in a collision. So they managed just about to stay out of harm's way. Here comes Holt trying to make his move on Blake Wilson now. That's the second lap in a row. He's had a think about it into rib. As there's a slower rider down at the back there, unfortunately.
Might be Pete Hickman, that, Jake. Might be.
Yeah, could well be. I know that Pete is here for laughs and a bit of a gaggle, but he's not really going to be challenging for the victory, but he's certainly here to support and motivate these fantastic young riders who are clearly going to be trying to take some of his Isle of Man TT records off him in the future.
No doubt his Isle of Man TT record at 135 mile an hour plus in 2018. That's the average speed, by the way, taking into account all the slow corners on the circuit. And if you're watching the Isle of Man TT in North America and thinking this looks a bit crazy, you're right, those guys are made of nails.
Yes, they are, but they are absolute warriors too. Wilson has another think about McCartney, can't get there. Good trajectory though from Marco Holt. He just got cut off there by the rear wheel of Wilson's bike. He's now going to try and go the long way round in the hope that he can get something done here out of the dogleg and into the D chicane. He just can't quite get it sorted out as they come up to rib once again out of paddock. And yet more problems for Blake Wilson because he's got to go offensive and defensive in exactly the same breath. Because he's got to challenge Henry McCartney for the lead back again, but he doesn't want to go too hungry on it because Marco Holt, as you can see, is swarming around all over him like an angry wasp at a picnic.
These three well clear of Arnie Carr. They're in fourth place. Jensen Bishop was in fifth, but Wilson Dilks, Jake, who started on the split grid, he's already up to fifth place overall.
Yeah, that's really impressive considering he was the leading contender in the previous category. Now he's absolutely charging forward. Izzy Carter, by the way, has got up into the top 10 overall as well, so good work, but it's Tim Patterson that has worked his way into that top 10 just in behind Sid Marshall. How close is it still between our fantastic trio, McCartney, Wilson and Marco Holt. Marco wanting to try and get the move here on Blake. Come off the hairpins, up through the dogleg and up towards the D, but still no opportunity, no room at the end. This is great defensive work from Blake Wilson. A bit further into the race, and you can see that Marco Holt is really going to try and challenge. 2 laps to go, up on the inside, diving, he's running out of chances, and that's why he's taking no prisoners up against Blake Wilson. This time he was a little bit further alongside, coming up to the reverse corkscrew, but still no room at the end, still no space given.
Wilson Dilks started P10 from the split grid. He's up to fourth place. That's incredible. What a performance. And he is now the fastest man on the track in fourth.
Yeah, he's gone half a second quicker than Henry McCartney has, so that's absolutely astonishing. Now the leaders are going through traffic. This is going to be quite tricky. You've got to be so careful how you pitch the bike in, where you position. You don't want to catch the fairing as you go through, whilst still having this major war with your fellow rider. This is a really great battle, and it's gone all the way to the death. Here comes Marco Holt up the inside. At last he gets the move he's been waiting for. Into second position, up the inside of hairpin 3, coming off hairpin 4. He now wants to have one last crack at going after Henry McCartney, and he's just got time.
Last lap. This has been a great race all the way through. They've got one to go now. Can Marco Holt turn third into first? He's having a look down the inside.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, he's got it.
That's absolutely amazing, but is he going to run wide on the exit? Here comes McCartney back again to the inside. He puts a leg down just to thwart the potential onslaught from McCartney, and Marco Holt zips his way through on the inside line. He's gone from third to first in less than a lap. Absolutely perfect timing from Marco Holt, and now there's not going to be a lot of opportunities for either Henry McCartney or Blake Wilson to come back at him. They've still got traffic to negotiate, so they've got to be careful. Timing is everything. Holt gets a little bit held up, but manages to come through round the far side. McCartney has got a better run off the turn than Blake Wilson has. Blake Wilson can only watch this unfold, but what will Henry McCartney be able to do out through South Bank? He gets a little squeeze of the throttle once again, but this is beautiful defensemanship from Marco Holt. He holds the middle of the road, up the inside, one more time from McCartney, almost clatters into his rear wheel, but this is beautifully judged from Marco Holt. Surely he's not going to be beaten now as he comes through. Marco Holt has snatched the victory on the final lap. Brilliant work from Marco Holt by just a single tenth of a second ahead of Henry McCartney and Blake Wilson. What a way to start the 2024 campaign. Here's your result for race 1. Holt from McCartney and Wilson. Wilson Dilks, great charge through from the second grid up to 4th. Then Arnie Carr, Jensen Bishop and Annabelle McCarthy. Tim Patterson doing well in 8th place, with Sid Marshall ahead of Izzy Carter, who rounds out the top 10. Amazing stuff.